Cinderia is an action roguelike where you can stack so many different abilities and effects that your character ends up playing completely differently every single run. And I mean actually different, not just that I have 5% more damage different. It is basically a Hades style game set in a world that got torched by a witch, and you are one of the few people who can absorb this corrupting magic without going insane. So you are fighting through the ruins to figure out what happened. So the absolutely biggest hook here is how much control you get over your build. You begin this with basic melee and dagger throws, but of course you're constantly picking up new active skills that then go on different buttons. Flying kicks, chain hooks, spinning attacks, shadow clones that can stab people. All of course with actual cooldowns that you have to manage during combat. But it goes much deeper because you can upgrade these skills multiple times during a run, and each upgrade gives you real choices. For example, there's this one ability that makes you dash toward enemies. Then later you can upgrade it to stop dashing yourself entirely and just send shadow copies instead. And this applies to basically every single skill. It completely changes how you play. Furthermore, there is this erosion system that makes choices risky. Each item or upgrade adds erosion points, and when you hit 100, the game forces you to take a curse. Actual downsides like slower dash, cooldowns, or enemies healing over time, just to give a few examples. So you're always deciding if that shiny new skill is worth getting closer to a penalty. It keeps things tense instead of just grabbing everything mindlessly. You can find these mirrors during runs that let you remove curses, but they are definitely rare enough that you can't just ignore the mechanic. The game has equipment that stacks on top of this. You find gear that adds extra effects like spawning wheel blades when you dash, making your shadows always count as backstabs, adding poison, all this kind of stuff. Limited inventory slots mean you're constantly swapping things around and trying to find combinations that work well together. You can also recycle equipment you don't want for crafting materials. The run structure is room-based, of course. That means you pick paths through different encounters. The classic combat rooms, shops, random events, equipment rooms, skill rooms. Random events do add some variety. There's stuff like this creepy old lady offering you candy that heals you but adds erosion, or finding survivors you can rescue and bring back to your shelter. The combat is very fast-paced. You've got multiple dash charges, which is awesome. Basic attack combos that have special properties, like your fourth hit in a combo can trigger bonus effects, and whatever skills you picked up. Their positioning matters quite a lot too, because backstabs deal way more damage, and some equipment also makes certain attacks always count as backstabs. Between the runs you go back to a shelter where you spend currency on permanent upgrades. There is also meta currency, like candles that you find during runs. The game's full version is supposed to have 4 different playable characters, each with around 180 unique skills, plus over 130 equipment pieces. The idea is every character has their own abilities and feels completely different to play. They are also planning to add the actual ending and expand the story, plus potentially multiplayer, once they are happy with the single player experience. The full version does have to improve in some areas. For example, the sound design has inconsistent balancing, the English translation needs some work, and the user interface doesn't explain mechanics clearly sometimes. The developers are planning 6 to 8 months of early access, but the core gameplay honestly feels pretty solid here, despite some of the rough edges. The build variety is genuinely there. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.